Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Doug Binette, Acting Director of the New York Tech Alliance, and your host for the Meetup tonight. Let me just take a moment to share my screen. And there we go. Can I get a thumbs up from everybody if you can see my screen? Excellent. Thanks. So with us tonight are the founders of two fintech companies on the rise, utilizing blockchain infrastructure. Bradley Miles of Roll is with us here on AirMeet. However, Lindsey Winder of Hedgey is with us in spirit. Lindsey has been attending a conference in Barcelona, and he had a change of travel plans, which overlapped with tonight's event. So he didn't want to disappoint. So he created a video of his of what he's doing, and I'll be sharing that in lieu of Lindsey providing a live demo. So kudos to Lindsey for remaining committed and being here with us, at least in spirit tonight. For new and past attendees, the New York Tech Alliance is a nonprofit organization serving individuals and businesses in the tech ecosystem. At the heart of our mission is driving, and my apologies, guys, I'm not paying attention to the to my slide deck here, so bear with me. At the heart of our mission is driving access, equity, and inclusion in the New York tech community to make it the most diverse and dynamic in the world. You can learn more about us and how to engage at nitech.org. Let's see. So please know that we record our events to share the experience with those unable to attend. They're posted on NYTA's YouTube channel and shared through our digital comm channels. Thanks to our annual sponsors who help make events like this one possible. Each has a presence on our website. You can learn more about them and how they support our community by going to nitech.org/partners. And I'm going to get a failing grade tonight for not advancing my slides. Sorry, guys. Next events. So hopefully you can save the dates for these. On April 27 at 12 noon, we've got our next NYTA talk. It's the Female Founders Spotlight Series. And on April 28 at 12 noon, we've got an event titled Digital Security for a Connected World. So we'll be talking about the latest trends in cybersecurity with one of our new sponsors, Bank of America. And May 3rd is our next meetup. We'll be featuring 3 fintech companies from MasterCard's Start Path program. And you can keep in touch by going to our events page on the website, nitech.org/our_events. Okay. If you have your own event and you'd like to post it, you can go to nitech.org/events and you're empowered. You can upload the event there and share it with the community. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And this is a great place to go to view all of the other content that we've recorded over the many years. And it's a great resource on many topics, including fundraising, HR and culture, inspirational stories about tech founders, and a lot more. And the YouTube address is right there in front of you. All right. Anyone looking to support the Alliance? We love and welcome support. You can add a donation when you RSVP to one of our virtual events. You can become an individual supporting or corporate member of New York Tech Alliance and simply make a small donation. So to do that, you can go to knightech.org/support_NYTA. Okay. Oh boy, I'm going to get a big F for a few notes about the event. So use the Q&A area of AirMeet to post your questions for this evening. No questions related to business models and revenue generation, please. This is solely about the technology and the market opportunity it addresses. And we ask that you be attentive and present, kind and respectful. We have a special thanks to Xander. Their support enables us to deliver the meetups virtually and connect the tech community. By the way, Xander's always looking for great talent to hire in their company. If anyone would like an introduction, please let me know. My email address is right there, doug@knighttech.org. Okay, so I am going to bring Bradley on stage. We're going to begin with Bradley. He's the CEO of Roll. And let's get Bradley up here. Hey, Bradley.
Oh, hey guys, how are you? Good to be here.
Awesome. I'm going to give it over to you, and I'll jump back in afterwards.
Awesome. Just so I know, how much time do I
have? As much as you want tonight.
Okay.
So no worries. We're there's only 2 presentations, so if you need to take as much time as you want.
Cool, good stuff. Do I have a hard stop anywhere, or just now?
We'll roll with it and go.
Awesome. Well, great to meet everyone. Bradley Miles. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Roll. I'll talk all about what Roll is. So we're loosely a company that you could say in the blockchain space. So we build a bunch of infrastructure for what you can call the creator economy and how that's expanding into the blockchain space. So I'll talk all about that. First, I want to see how communicative we could be through the this message platform. Yeah, can anyone listening also send a message as well? I just want to see if that's possible. And also, if so, just want to hear. Awesome. Hey, Franklin. Also, just want to hear, does anyone have, hey, Brian, just want to hear, does anyone have a decent knowledge of, hey, Eric, does anyone have a decent knowledge of blockchain or Web3? Like, are these things completely new? Oh, here we go. Hey, Michael. Okay. So Franklin does. Does anyone else have like a pretty, is anyone else familiar with things like Ethereum, DeFi, tokens? Okay, great. Just getting a sense of where we are. All right, so I have been in the blockchain space, I feel like a geezer now, for 7 years. I started as the head of research at a company called CoinDesk. CoinDesk at the time, but still is kind of one of the leaders. Awesome. So Michael, Brian, and a few others with some experience. Cool, yeah. So CoinDesk is basically one of the leaders in blockchain-based news. My job was to, awesome, Kent knows the basics. My job was to really understand everything that was happening in the blockchain space in 2015, which actually wasn't that much. There were, a few dozen blockchains people were talking about, and Franklin's been around for a while. Great. There were a few dozen blockchains that were been around for a while, and my job was like to create 100 pages of research every 90 days on everything that was happening in the space. So as a forcing function, I needed to be be very good at to do my job. I needed to be very good at understanding metrics and also just creating metrics, things like GitHub commits per blockchain. So this is now a standard, but it's an interesting way to really look at what's happening in terms of developer activity. So we really couldn't tell the difference between like NEM and Dash and XRP and all these other things that were, not ahead of Bitcoin at the time, but, still interesting. How do we compare these things? And so doing things like that, mining market share per country. So there's this whole narrative of, are things decentralized if most of the hash power, which is, the power needed for like a proof of work blockchain, for instance, that, extends a lot of electricity. Is it truly decentralized if most of the mining market share is in one country, let's say China? And so a lot of those conversations were happening around that time. So just helping create a broad range of metrics. Around 2016, I started looking at Ethereum. Ethereum became interesting because once you read the white paper, which is about 17 pages, it talks about what's possible. And it wasn't Bitcoin at the time really wanted to be, this global payment system and also, this store of value. But there was no concept of, writing applications, so creating applications on the blockchain. People were trying to do it. It was just clunky and very hard. You would never build like a social network powered by the Bitcoin blockchain. That's not something that the Bitcoin blockchain was built for. It's built to like power and secure Bitcoin and transactions in Bitcoin specifically. So Ethereum, was kind of the first real serious bet at building a computing engine, a blockchain-based computing engine, what we now call like a decentralized, computer system. So started looking at that. Ethereum split into two pieces after a hack happened on a piece of code. So the blockchain didn't get hacked, but an application someone wrote got hacked. And it's split into two different blockchains, Ethereum and Ethereum Cash. And I wrote a massive paper on it that a lot of people paid attention to. And after that, I was so interested about how, you could imagine like Democrats, Republicans, arguing and there's like one like Congress currency and it splits into like two currencies, right? And so like I was just fascinated by like how debates and philosophy now can be powered by currency and ideas, and just dove in further and really saw that whoever wins this game of computing systems that power blockchain based whatever media application systems, it's going to be the next version of the internet. And I realized that I should tackle something I'm passionate about super early on and just dive really deep into that. And I was really passionate about the creator economy. I was passionate about where that was heading. I remember like the day, YouTube added the donate button. I was really excited about Twitch and Patreon and stuff like that. And we really saw that, hey, if blockchains are going to be a thing and creators hate Facebook, even back then, platforms and stuff, there's going to come a day where the tokens, the currencies that are created, they won't just be for blockchains, they'll be for people. And there will need to be, a system that creates those currencies and moves those currencies from platforms that I'm fascinated by, like Patreon, to, whole new blockchain-based worlds and concepts. And so this is the beginning of Roll. And so Roll was a concept to become infrastructure for this category that we saw many years ago. I wrote a post in 2018 about this, and it's just happening this year, of people starting to create their own currencies. You could say this concept extends way back 150 years ago to the idea of social currency, or social capital, and this being sort of the value of a given network. And so you can almost say that social tokens render this very real and tradable and ownable and fungible. And why this is so exciting is because all of these aspects that we talk about have been owned by platforms. The metrics themselves and markets, if you will, through those metrics have been owned by platforms. So what I mean by that is you may see someone, let's say Rihanna, online, and you may look at the latest sales of the Rihanna album, or like, streams, or followers, or things like this. These are all metrics owned by platforms. Why this is so exciting is because for the first time, you can create a system that is completely independent of platforms, meaning you can create a currency and literally have that be platform independent. So this is what Roll is. So we are hosting these currencies, these tokens that exist beyond Roll. So this is to say, we could mint a token, and it can be, and something could happen to Roll. Roll can get acquired by PayPal or Facebook, and they could turn us into a video game company. And that token still exists because it's powered by Ethereum. And so myself and thousands of other entrepreneurs now are building things on Ethereum. This category that I'm working in has become known as social tokens. We also play around in a new emerging space called DAOs, which is a whole other evolved concept of where organizations and communities will head. And we build a ton of infrastructure. I'm probably gonna drop some money through this chat in a bit, so you can kind of see how Roll works. But we're building the infrastructure that allows you to mint these tokens. So the technical standard is an ERC20 token. So I'll type that out there. And it's just of the fungible standard of the fungible standard of tokens on Ethereum. So fungible just meaning, the sameness. So a dollar is fungible. What is non-fungible would be, one, trading cards, things like this. One Michael Jordan rookie card isn't the same as a Michael Jordan, Washington Wizards card, right? In his last year, there's a very different value, but they're both cards. And so that's what you're seeing in the non-fungible token world, and with NFTs. And so that's a lot different than what we do, which is, we're creating currencies that can be used, and the value is derived from their sameness. So when that happens, you can, and it's around communities and people. So let's say I created a Franklin token, right? So I could send 100 Franklins through this chat. I could put Franklins in an exchange and create Franklin liquidity and have it be 1 cent per Franklin. I can create a monetary policy and a monetary system that's completely owned by Franklin and his community, and we derive sameness from that. And so Franklins can spread across the internet like money. And so what Roll does is almost the recreation of money in a very big way. This seems crazy, but a lot of things seemed crazy many decades ago. If we were in the 1980s right now, and I told you that in 40 years, there'd be, instead of 3 channels, ABC, NBC, CBS, there'd be, 100 million channels with things like YouTube, Spotify, Netflix. You wouldn't believe me at all. You'd be like, no one can defeat CBS. That'd be crazy. But that's the reality now. And over the next few decades, you'll see that people will start to, just like now, anyone, anywhere, anytime can create their own money. Can create their own channel of YouTube, etc. We're entering a world in which anyone can create their own money. And so there needs to be PayPal-like, Stripe-like infrastructure for that. And the beautiful thing about the internet is you really get to be a first mover, when you have a vision and idea, and move things like this forward. So we're probably going to power stuff that PayPal does. We're probably going to power stuff that Visa does, right? We're probably going to create the standard that allows you to spend 40 Franklins at a bar for a beer. right? But those are role-powered systems that are going to integrate with other systems. This is a fascinating part of Web3s. Just like a side note, if you were to go to PayPal right now and buy crypto, let's say you buy Bitcoin, that's completely powered by another Web3 company. Um, and if you were to go to a site like public.com and buy crypto, it's completely powered by a friend of mine's company called Apex Crypto. And so there's traditional internet companies, things that we call Web 2. A lot of the features they have are powered by Web 3. And so this is the goal of Roll. So in the future, we see a world in which we're creating these tokens for creators. So we've created around 400 tokens so far. I'm going to send some links. I think that may be a better, more engaging way so you guys can play around. But we've created over 400 tokens. We're slowly developing markets for them. So again, these ideas are so new that we're one of the only parties like building this out in a real way. So in real time, you could start to see the market cap of tokens on Roll, the trading volume. So in the past 24 hours, there's been a little over $700,000 in trading volume and all sorts of these things. And we could bring this to fruition. An artists can now come to Roll. They can create their own currency. We could form markets, and we could integrate this currency into different applications, not just blockchain applications, but literally, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, all these platforms. So Franklin asked, this looks like a Web3 version of YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, NFT all in one. It's actually bigger than that. So we are going to, and candidly, we're in conversations with companies like this, but we're a company that's going to power platforms like this. So Roll is infrastructure. So we're not interested in building applications for creators. We're going to power thousands of those, like PayPal powers many platforms or Stripe. So we have no interest in building the next metaverse or building Clubhouse or building YouTube or Patreon or any of these platforms. We're just going to power the social token aspect of them. So for instance, if you're on Patreon and you buy a creator's token, let's say, these are features that we're going to build. So we're going to build features that allow any platform that folks have created to earn, spend, and create social tokens in this whole interoperable system. And this is so difficult that it would be very tough for another company to replicate this. So there's a reason you may see 500 NFT companies, and you maybe have never heard of this type of concept. There's really only 4 or 5 companies that are thinking about it, and we've been thinking about it the longest. So this opens up the floor for, just like PayPal opened up the floor for eBay to integrate online cash. They need to build an online cash system, or most gig economy payments are done through Stripe, right? If you used Lyft today, or if you ordered food through DoorDash, those systems are powered by Stripe. There's a payments company powering that version. So Lyft can focus on ride sharing, and DoorDash can focus on delivery and building logistics systems around that. That's the business. They don't need to focus on payments at all. And so we think this category is going to be so big, we're going to build everything for social tokens. And so if you want to build any creator economy platform, you want to build a live streaming platform, whatever, the next Instagram will be that social token layer. And so we're pretty excited about some of the things that are going on, just to show you guys how, and if you guys have any questions, just jump in, we'll kind of use the chat. But just to show you guys how interesting this is happening, and how new this category is, and how antithetical it may be to things you've seen in the past. I'm going to show you the market for a creator on Roll, and then I'll probably send you some of his tokens. So what you're looking at in that link, what you're looking at in this link is a link to an exchange. This exchange is unlike Coinbase or NASDAQ or any exchange you may be familiar with. because it's completely open source. I can know, record, and monitor any token that's any asset that's traded on that exchange. And the reason I can do that is because it's a blockchain-based exchange. The reason you'd create a blockchain-based exchange is there's no middleman. It's a moonshot concept that worked. Philosophically, it worked. The thing about blockchains is it's a philosophy. It's a philosophy that you're sacrificing in the beginning speed for disintermediation of businesses and in a larger sense privacy. You're not sort of trading. Bradley bought this. There's lots of different things you can do. And so this particular exchange, Uniswap, has around $7 billion of liquidity in it. And so what's fascinating about this is this was started by a developer, also a New Yorker. And this application allows anyone to create liquidity. So it's very hard to directly create liquidity on NASDAQ or Coinbase or any other exchange you may have heard of. But this is such a radical idea that I could literally create a token for a creator. So in this token is it's called Whale. And I can pair it with the native digital currency of Ethereum called Ether. You could think of Ether as like the gas or like the fuel or oil that runs Ethereum, which we currently understand as the leading blockchain-based system for computing. So as you can imagine, we're very long on Ether and possibilities of Ethereum. And so I can start creating a pool and I can create a market, and people can be willing participants of that market. This is to say people can buy, sell, trade, but they could also be a part of this market in a different way. They could add liquidity, right? So what you're looking at, if you click this link, is you're looking at a creator. You're looking at someone that has a community online. But the metrics you're looking at are entirely new. The metrics aren't streams. The metrics aren't likes, subscribes, right? Any of that stuff. The metrics are financial. You're looking at the open source liquidity, so the liquidity that's been added by a community to this token. And so you can see there's $5.5 million of liquidity in this currency. I will soon send you guys this currency at the end of the presentation. I'll send it to a few people, but I want to talk about what's happening here. So the dollar value of this currency is $6.30. Like any community, like any creator, let's say a creator with 0 followers that just started, so day 0, this had to build up over time. So you could implicitly say that someone that organically has 1 million followers on YouTube is going to do well financially, right? They just need to put out some videos, get some ad revenue, and they're all set. This world is interesting, right? So this creator, Whale, he created a token on Roll called Whale. So his name's Whale Shark. If you want to look him up on Twitter, and he's the largest creator on Roll. He's the largest market on Roll. So his market is $6.30. And so that started from 0 and it built up over time, which is fascinating. We made the market for Whale at around 3 cents, right? And at 30,000, X increase, let's say, to this amount, which is interesting. And now we created the monetary policy for Whale too, just like all currencies. So Roll has a very vanilla medium t-shirt standard of 10 million tokens. So the Bitcoin supply is 21 million. The standard for every Roll token, every social token on Roll, is 10 million. And this amount is released over a period of time. The Bitcoin supply finishes in 2140, which is a long time from now. It's 120 years from now. That's when we'll expect it 21 million Bitcoin through the current emission schedule. For Roll creators, it's we changed it from 3 years to 1 year. So you can mint tokens, and you could, let's say you want to create 10 million Franklins, let's say. So you could start with 2 million Franklins, and then over a period of time you'll have 10 million Franklins. And so we're building all the tools. We're building the financial infrastructure to make Franklins valuable, to make Franklins have a market. And this is a completely new concept for creators, but it is directionally correct because it improves the economics of internet native creators. So we're pretty excited about where this is going, and we'll stop at the infrastructure level, right? So Stripe didn't need to build e-commerce stores because they saw a world in which something like Shopify would exist, and they thought they'd be best positioned to power Shopify, and they were right. Stripe powers all payments on Shopify. And this is amazing. Stripe may have not seen the first gig economy partnership with Stripe was like Lyft in 2012. And so that was cool. They were like, hey, there's there's this crazy e-commerce thing, people driving cars and, and they don't own them. And, they're picking up people they don't know. Sounds crazy, but they need payments. Let's do it. So things like that turned into like Stripe powering over half of the gig economy, right? And so things like that are going to happen with Roll, right? Maybe there's a creator, or maybe a streamer, or maybe there's a platform, right? That creates tokens for chat rooms on something like Clubhouse, and they want tokens for each room. That may be how the internet works for the next 10 years, and we'll power a lot of that. So we're pretty excited. So we'll end up being that API infrastructure layer, and we'll hold that together, and everyone else will build platforms over time. I'll dig into some other stuff here, but I just want some questions here. Yeah, so Franklin saying this kind of takes Patreon out of the equation. If YouTubers ask viewers to donate to their patron instead and suggest viewers buy stake into their social token, which allows them to create content. Yeah, it's awesome because now so Patreon can take away all your subscribers, right? They could shut down your account. They could do all these sorts of things. If you have a currency, it exists across systems, right? There's only so much Roll can do. Like, we have to almost prove ourselves in the market. You can take your Franklins or your whale elsewhere, and we want that. We're not going to create an exchange. We're not going to create a streaming platform. But in the event of these types of things, this is going to change how the internet works, right? You won't be able to shut down someone's YouTube account or social account. They'll just move their money. Literally, they'll move their tokens elsewhere to another platform. So it's exciting. Digital exchange supports straight from viewer to creator, and how you can see the analytics of how liquidity is created. Yeah, it's awesome. So we're building tools to increase liquidity over time too. And so this is an amazing concept. All these things are less than 5 years old. So no, it's cool, Franklin. Keep on messaging. Other people can message too. I'll just answer your questions directly. So I'll show you guys about how things happen. So creating tokens is cool. Creating your own monetary system is cool. In the entire history of money, like, people have never been able to create their own money. Some communities have, right? Local currencies, Berkshires, Ithaca dollars, things like that. But people have never been able to like functionally create their own money. And with blockchains and the internet, you can. What's cooler than that? What's cooler than saying I have my own money is saying my money is worth, the whale market at 10 million whale and $6.30 a currency. The fully diluted market of that creators community is $63 million. I could definitively say that because I know the whale monetary policy and supply. That's really tough to say with like Mr. Beast's YouTube account or something. So you could like directly say that, and it's a really new and interesting thing. And so why that number matters, why I can say it's like whale is worth $6.30 is the liquidity in there. There's enough liquidity in there to enter and exit the market easily, which is amazing. To get there, you have to reward people that do these things. This is new open source ideas. This concept, if you want to look it up, is loosely called liquidity mining. Liquidity mining is the idea of saying, hey, I'm Franklin. I really believe in myself and my community. This is day one of the Franklin currency. I know a bunch of people. I'm going to give them some Franklin, but also I want to create a market. I'm going to go to this decentralized exchange Uniswap because NASDAQ's not going to list Franklin. Coinbase isn't going to list Franklin. But Uniswap is open source, and I don't even need their permission to list up Franklin. I could literally just go to dash uniswap / add a token, and I could upload Franklin to this internet exchange. And I'll add some Ether too, and I'll make it a few cents of Franklin, which will be great. And then from there, you want to increase liquidity. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, hey, for anyone that increases Franklin liquidity, so for anyone that has Franklin and Ether, the native digital currency of Ethereum, if you add this to the liquidity pool, I will give you more Franklins, all right? And so that in itself is a direct incentive for that liquidity pool to grow from Franklin's 1 ETH of liquidity to a lot more ETH over time. And this is how pools grow in a decentralized world. And Roll is building an automated tool to make that happen, which is awesome. Up until now, it's been pretty manual for creators to do it, but we're building a tool through a process called liquidity mining. So we're building a liquidity mining product for creators. And this is the job of Roll. These are the most important tools that we can build. And then after that, we can see liquidity mining on YouTube or Patreon, right? They'll just use the products we created, the financial products we created, just like people use the financial products of PayPal and Stripe today. Yeah, so that's a little bit more popular and amazing. See some of Franklin's messages here. The more popular, amazing the creator's content and brand is, the bigger their digital token becomes usually. Definitely a better version of the current NFT field right now, where it's mostly Twitter speculation. Yeah, there's much more market participants. We see a world in which there should be a lot more tokens here, and the it could be integrated into a lot of systems. I could you could send someone 100 Franklin over Twitter or any of these types of things, fairly easily, and it means something to send 100 Franklin. Whereas, if you're going to send 100 NFTs, who knows what that's worth or can be worth. There's also zero liquidity for NFTs. To sell an NFT to someone else on the other end, you need a single individual buyer. To sell 100 Franklins, I just need a liquid market. So yeah, let's see. If I'm a music artist, I can say, if you add my liquidity, I'll give out signed album vinyls to my supporters. Exactly. Yeah. So you now have new ways to incentivize users and new actions you want as well. So yeah, that's just a little bit about Roll and where we're heading. And yeah, we're pretty excited about what's next here. If I have some time, I'll just drop you guys a few whales. So one of Roll's business models is holding a percentage of the tokens as well, which we're really excited about. So we're almost, you could almost imagine millions of creators on Roll, and Roll almost being like a treasury for a lot of these creators. So I'll send out 5 whale. And so what I'm creating right now is a link for 5 individual people to click this and claim some whale. And our system is so easy that it is powered by the Ethereum blockchain, which requires a native self-hosted wallet with a seed phrase and all this stuff. But we created our own wallet, which is super simple. It's as easy as signing up to Twitter or Coinbase or something like that. And I'm sending you a link to do that. Additionally, with 1 whale. So 5 different people can click that link. You can claim 1 whale. And this is a token from one of the hundreds of creators on Roll. And then from there, you guys could explore the ecosystem and stay in touch on things we're doing. And yeah, I'll throw it to Doug. If I have more time, I'll keep going. If not,
that's wow. This is fantastic. Thank you, Bradley. So I think you hit the record for time at a meetup. So kudos. I have a question around who are the early adopters right now? Are you seeing trends of communities that are adopting this?
Yeah. So it's really amazing. I have a few friends that were super early on streaming in the music industry. They were trying to get labels to get into streaming and all this stuff. And they were like, what is that? This is when Spotify, had like below 10 million, users. They were like, hey, we're sticking with albums. We're making a ton of money on albums. We're just going to do albums. And what happened is a lot of the early platforms, SoundCloud and others, they had a huge lead. But it wasn't these major artists that were signing. It wasn't these major artists that were using streaming. It was these independent artists that had their own freedom and could make their own decisions. And they ended up blowing up platforms like SoundCloud. SoundCloud was so big, it had its own category of hip hop music. If you were a hip hop artist and you were on SoundCloud, it was called SoundCloud rap. It was its own genre. And so that was really interesting. And we're seeing things like that natively too. For example, when Twitter started off, microblogging became a thing, and people thought like Cameron Diaz and like a lot of people would just blow up on Twitter because it was an extension of celebrity. Meanwhile, it's a different type of feature of the internet. So it's people writing and all this stuff. So new people came about that were really interesting. So the most exciting creators on Roll are people that natively are excited about Web3 and want to extend their own version of themselves to a community. They want to have like a token of appreciation. Or they want to have a way to celebrate and enrich their community in a very real way. So a lot of that has been NFT creators, writers in the space. So our first 100, 200 creators were very much like blockchain-based artists, writers, and creators. Now we've minted a token for Terry Crews. We just minted a token for Shepard Fairey, who did the Obama posters and kind of iconic graffiti artist in the U.S. and just a bunch of others. So we're really on our way. It was super hard to get this far, but we did the hard work so far. And right
well, that's
now,
a good.
yeah.
That's a good segue to my next question about what's been the biggest challenge in building the company and getting things, getting momentum.
Yeah, it's so interesting. There's so many. I've been a researcher of tech for like 10 years. So I've, casually from like 2010 to 2015, and then professionally in digital currency. And what you kind of notice is that like there's some really crazy stories. There's people raising billions of dollars and they haven't built a product. There's, this famous guy did this and now he's trying to do this and it's wildly different and not successful. So like I think what I can say is like most of the hard stuff is over. I was telling you earlier, it's almost like, so we just raised our Series A last year. So I'll send a link. So we did a $10 million fundraise. And like a lot of the hard work's over, but the hardest part was actually just creating a category. It was the most fun, but the hardest part, right? So like the term social tokens didn't exist when we created the company. I had to almost go door to door, right? So it's going to places like VidCon. I was talking to YouTube creators. They were like, what is this? What are you talking about? But I was really persistent. We got our first creator and I was ecstatic. And then from there, it was 500 no's to get the first yes, then maybe 499 no's, you just keep on going and you just see progress. So yeah, just like a lot of grit to get this far. And now the category is here. I just got pinged by, some very famous people's managers and, we're going to start those processes. But yeah, the hardest part is just getting users and people on board. But after that, it's, you just keep going and you'll hit something.
Awesome. And one, I don't know, I guess it's a trivial question, but I'm curious. So has the term whale replaced dough?
Well, in the blockchain world, a whale is someone that holds a lot of digital currency.
Got it.
So like if you're a Bitcoin whale, you hold a lot of Bitcoin.
So I just exposed my my lack of knowledge in the space.
Yeah, so there's niche internet slang every day. I actually learned a new internet native term today is Eternal September. So Eternal September was a day in 1993 when the internet moved from so the Usenet, which was the main application for the internet back then, moved from like, a bunch of hackers to like, the general public was hopping on, and so there's just a whole different culture coming on. And so whenever anything super niche goes mainstream, you refer to that as like an eternal September. So like, for example, like cryptocurrency isn't just like, a few people talking in a room now. There's, massive companies and JP Morgan and influencers. And so, we've had our eternal September. It's kind of happened. But yeah.
We talked about going back to infrastructure. We talked about this earlier. And I guess this is for myself again as a refresh, and for others who are just coming up to speed. It's akin to a network of sorts where things plug into and are able to operate. So if you have a 5G network in place, that is going to enable new kinds of technologies to plug in and perform. And so is it the same, similar?
Yeah, absolutely. The beauty of it is you don't need the permission of the network to join the network. So Ethereum being a world computer that is permissionless, so anyone can use Ethereum. You guys can literally create an application on Ethereum right now, and anyone in the world can use it, for good or bad, right? This means North Korean dictators can use it, and so can people whose rights are being revoked, and people you don't like, people you do like, regardless of what you do. So there's really interesting sides to this that a lot of people haven't really thought through yet. But yeah, there's a lot of possibilities.
All right, Bradley. I think we're gonna stop here. I am trying to get Lindsey's video to up on the screen. I'm having a technical challenge today, and I'm not sure I can do it through the AirMe platform. So what I'm going to do is try to share my screen and see if the video and the audio come through clearly. So that aside, everyone, if you can hang for a few more minutes, I'll put the video up, and then we'll end the session. Bradley, do you have any ask offer from the community?
No, guys. Yeah, if you're interested in what we're doing, you can pretty much just shoot pretty personable. Talking to a lot of people on email. Just got verified last month. Ooh, on Twitter, so you can DM us at at TryRollHQ. You can see what's going on. You can go to the website, subscribe to our mailing list, and yeah, catch me on the interwebs. And always here to answer questions.
Awesome. Hey, thanks again, Bradley. Really appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. I am once again going to try and get Lindsey's video up here. So bear with me. Okay. So one of those moments where you sweat it out. You know it's going to work. Okay. Okay, can I get a thumbs up if you can see the the image of Lindsey? Awesome. All right. All right, let's see how it goes.
Hi, everybody. Lindsey here from Hedgey, joining you from Barcelona. I thought I'd jump in and show you a little bit more about what we're building. Very excited to be here. And at the end of this presentation, I'm also going to be sharing my email since I couldn't be joining live if you have questions or want to discuss things further. So without further ado, let me share a little bit about what I am building at Hedgey. Okay, so we're Hedgey. What does Hedgey do in blockchain? We build financial tooling for DAO treasuries. Now, that is a lot. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to present today, I could have really dove into our products, but a lot of people may have missed some of the core principles of what we do that make it so important. So I thought I'd actually spend most of this 5 minutes just talking through actually what DAOs are, why they need financing, and how these new primitives being built on blockchain can really do things that are quite powerful. So let's jump in. WTF is a DAO. So a really easy way to think about it is a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. Traditional organizations are very centralized, whether you think about a company that has a CEO, a CTO, CFO, and then other people around them, or you just think about how computers work, where you have a central server and everything kind of rests on these central beings. The same can be said for organizations, right? When you think about how decisions are made, there's typically people give their input, but it comes down to like one central spot. Decentralized autonomous organizations are a new type of organization made possible by Web3. Now, I'm going to give you a few examples so you can actually conceptualize what I'm talking about. These are 3 DAOs that exist today. One is Links DAO, it's a golf DAO. One is Uniswap. It's a protocol for financial trading. And this on the right, this is Constitution DAO. This was a DAO that was essentially a group chat with a shared bank account trying to buy the US Constitution. Now, those are 3 very different examples of DAOs, but they all have something in common. They're all a group of people coming together, making decisions with a common kind of like direction. Links DAO, they want to buy a golf course. They want a group of people to have rights and access to a golf course, so they're coming together to make that happen. Uniswap is a protocol that conducts trades of decentralized assets. They have a group of people managing how the protocol evolves, how fees are distributed, and other key decisions that you would think typically of a company. And Constitution DAO was a group of people that said, you know what, we want to collectively own the US Constitution. So we're going to come together and make it happen. There's a lot of other types of DAOs and structures that we could go into, but we may set up for another time. So how do DAOs function? Well, you can think of it very simply in 3 ways. They need a place to chat. This is Discord, Links DAO. People need to communicate, to organize, and that's really good. They need something more formal. When they want something to happen, they need to propose what they would like to happen and share it with the other members and discuss. And they need a way to vote. This is Snapshot. This is a vote by governance holders of Uniswap deciding on key components of how the Uniswap DAO would be moving forward. So you have a DAO, which is this new kind of form of organization. You have people who are pursuing things that they're passionate about, and you have ways that they organize and vote and conduct the DAO. So big question, why do DAOs need financial tooling? Simple answer is because some of them have really big treasuries. These are DAOs on the right. It's a Uniswap here. It has $2.6 billion in its treasury. BitDAO, $2.2 billion. You can look at this list. while some DAOs are kind of fun and just a group of people pursuing something, having a good time, other DAOs have massive treasuries. Problem. As big as these treasuries are, not many of them actually have a lot of runway capital or the ability to kind of endure as in the ways you would think a company would with burn rates and costs and everything. The reason is that in this space, a lot of these DAOs, their treasury consists mostly of their native token, but not the type of assets like a US dollar that traditional companies typically need. And this is a problem. They need to convert these native tokens often to more traditional currencies or the equivalent of, and have difficulty doing that. And that's why we exist. Hedgey builds financial infrastructure for DAO treasuries. That's another mouthful, but I'm going to go into that. Another way to say this is we build smart contracts that DAOs can use to manage their treasury assets. Now, discussing what a smart contract is in depth is much more than a 5-minute conversation. But essentially, we build the code of this in this permissionless landscape people call Web3 that anyone can participate in and do very powerful things with, including, in our case, using financial instruments to manage treasury. Examples of this, you can think of OTC, over-the-counter trades, covered calls, auctions, financial tools that DAOs and large treasuries need to properly manage themselves. And now, when you think about this, you might think of like Robinhood or like an app that you would click on and do that, but that isn't what Web3 is, and that's not what we're building. We're actually going deeper than that and building the infrastructure that other apps can build on top of. So rather than trying to build the next Robinhood, we're trying to build the infrastructure that the next Robinhood is built on top of. So you can see this in people building covered calls, public OTC, auctions, using the protocol that we have built, the infrastructure we have built to build the next generation of apps on top of. I'm going to close with, this is the power of Web3. The power of Web3 is that, and Web3, when I say that, I mean the evolution of the internet going from a centralized internet to a decentralized internet where people can participate in decentralized organizations, where they can use decentralized financial applications, where they can use the power of a distributed ledger, a distributed internet, a distributed group of people to come together in ways that previously were impossible. And right now at Hedgey, we're exploring the ways that these organizations exist, the needs they have, the financial needs, the organizational needs, and trying to build in. Looking forward to speaking with all of you more. Please feel free to reach out to me at Lindsey@hedgey.finance and look forward to speaking with you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, we did it. We got Lindsey's video. Franklin, thanks for the question. Do NFT ERC smart contracts have different ERC than DAO ERC smart contracts? I'm going to defer to Lindsey to answer that. If you need his email address, were you able to capture it? Okay, excellent. That'll be the best path forward. Are there any other questions from anyone that you'd like to share here and we give to Lindsey, or do you just want to reach out to him directly? Just let me know. And last, got it. Thanks, Franklin. Is there anyone out there who has an ask offer for the New York tech community? I can have you come on stage and you can put it out there in person. If not, we'll end the session and you're free to continue networking. The room will be open and feel free to connect with one another. I'll be at the NITEC table for a little bit afterwards. So just want to thank everybody for attending tonight, and really appreciate you. Okay. Good evening.